So you've studied China's history this semester. What's your biggest takeaway?
So my biggest takeaway in Chinese history this year is how Confucianism is present throughout all of Chinese history, even before Confucius was around, because Confucius based his ideals off of the three great rulers, Yao, Shun, and Yu, and off of the five classics, the Shu Jing, which was the classic of history, the classic of poetry, classic of rites, classic of changes, and the spring and autumn annals. Like we see some Confucian ideals or ideals that Confucius based his theory off of in the canon of Yao when Yao is appointing his successor. He chose Shun because he was the son of a blind man. His father was stubbornly immoral. His stepmother was insincere. His half brother was arrogant, but he still demonstrated filial piety and lived in harmony with them. And he led them gradually to self government, so they no longer behaved with wickedness. We also see more Confucian ideals during Shun's first access co-emperor. When he performed rituals to Shangdi, he sacrificed to the imperial ancestors and the hills and rivers and spirits, and presented the burnt offering to the heavens. We also see Confucianism even in legalist China. This shows how Confucianism is ever present in Chinese history since it's been there since the start with the Yao Shen and Yu. Qin Shi Huangdi wrote on a stone tablet that he clarified human affairs and brought harmony to father and son. This shows that he valued filial piety, which is one aspect of Confucianism. It also says that he unified and harmonized diverse customs. This was what Confucius was trying to do with ritual, using ritual to unify people. And it also says that all strive to be upright and good. Confucius was trying to be good just like the model rulers Yao Shen and Yu. Later we see Confucianism come to become the major ideology in China when Liu Bang comes to power. After his military men got drunk and were in the palace and began to destroy the palace, a Confucian scholar, Shu Sun Tong, he stepped forward and volunteered to set up an appropriate protocol. So Shu Sun Tong, he showed Liu Bang the importance of Confucianism. He said that Confucians are hard to use when marching forward to conquer, but they are good allies in holding on to what one has gained. This shows that Confucians are good at keeping order in society with their ritual and rules. So after that, Liu Bang's successors began to incorporate more Confucianism, and Confucianism eventually became ever present in China. Later on, we see emperors like Qianlong and Kangxi. They were very Confucian emperors, and they valued Confucianism. We saw the Chinese people begin to undertake Confucian exams in order to gain higher status in society and more respect. People would memorize the five classics and value education, which was what Confucius wanted. We begin to see some decline in Confucianism when Westerners first made contact with China. When Christians first enter China, they try to convert people, and we see that the Vatican doesn't like Confucius and ancestor worship. They try to ban it, and they say that the spring and autumn rites honoring Confucius and ancestors were out of bound to Catholics. A Catholic could not serve as the main official at such rituals, nor could he serve as an assistant official at the rituals. Converts were not to even attend such rituals, as they are tantamount to heresy. So, the emperor at the time, Kangxi, was outraged, and he drove most of the missionaries out of China. But we see this happen again when, well, something similar happened again when the Westerners once again entered China. Later on in the 1800s, we see Hong Xiuquan. He failed 3 times at the Confucian exams, the Shengren degree, and then he began to suffer hallucinations and thought he was the son of God. He became an anti-Confucian. He led people to destroy Confucian shrines and all things Confucian. He led people who called themselves the God worshippers, and they tried to form their own kingdom in China. Later on in the PRC, during Mao's rule, we see the Cultural Revolution, which is another example of Confucian ideals no longer being that strong in China. We don't see the Confucian exams anymore, and we see students beginning to revolt against their parents and teachers. They even beat them during the Cultural Revolution. There were many scholars who were banished during the Cultural Revolution, which was against Confucian ideals, which valued education. And when we saw the parents being beaten, that also goes against filial piety, which Confucius revered. So we see the differences between Confucian ideals and Western ideals. We see that Confucians are more family-oriented and less individualistic, while Westerners are more individualistic and more religious, while Confucians are more ritualistic. This ritual includes proper behavior, such as like manners, how Confucius used to bow and perform his rituals very precisely and properly. We still see Confucianism today in Chinese society since it's been present in their history for so long. It's part of their culture now, and it'll probably be always there. It's already been there for thousands of years, so it's likely that it'll also have an impact on other societies in the world as well, now that China is gaining power and having more influence.